The Buddha was once walking through a forest when he witnessed a deer being killed by a hunter, and the Buddha was horrified by the suffering of the deer. Buddhism is the practice of realizing your true nature, of realizing who you truly are. It is the practice of committing no evil, committing good, and purifying your thoughts. The story of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, goes as follows. He was born as a prince, a son of a wealthy king. His father sought to hide the suffering of the world from him. When people of the kingdom became sick, old, or dead, they were hidden from him. He lived in luxury and riches for many years, never knowing how much suffering there was in the world. At adulthood, Siddhartha, the prince, snuck out of his father's kingdom and witnessed, for the first time in his life, pain, and he was traumatized by it. He was traumatized by how much pain the people of the world were in. He saw suffering, and it shook him deeply. With compassion in his heart for those who were suffering, he began to search for a way out of suffering. He eventually found and followed ascetics who were also seeking the path to ultimate liberation from suffering through self-mutilation and self-torture. And Siddhartha practiced their ways. On the verge of death, Siddhartha, having had starved himself for so long, abandoned the path of self-torture after his life was saved by a woman who had given him food and water to eat and drink. After Siddhartha regained his strength and began eating again, he eventually sat down beside a tree and began to meditate, still seeking the end of suffering. For many days and nights he meditated until he experienced nirvana, the end of suffering, and he became completely enlightened. After experiencing nirvana, he began to travel the world and began to teach people about suffering and how to be liberated from it. He taught about the path to ultimate liberation from suffering through compassion. And he felt compassion, not only for humans, but also for non-humans. And after hearing his teachings, many of his disciples became completely enlightened and completely free of suffering. For Siddhartha, the awakened, all life was sacred. He resolutely refused to harm animals, including humans, and he refused to cause animals, including humans, to be harmed. Those who desire Buddhahood should not train in many dharmas, but only one. Which one? Great compassion. Those with great compassion in their hearts possess all of the Buddha's teachings as if it were in the palm of their hand. In separateness lies the world's greatest misery. In compassion lies the world's true strength.